Welcome, curious minds, to Alternatify, where we dare to peel back the layers of history and ask the most audacious questions. Today we confront a monumental what if. What if Islam, as we know it, had never emerged? This isn't an exercise in judgment or revisionism, but a thought experiment. We're exploring the profound ripple effects, the historical butterfly effect, of such a colossal absence. It's about understanding the intricate tapestry of our world by imagining a different thread. So buckle up, history enthusiasts and fellow alt history aficionados. Prepare for a journey through a world that never was, a landscape shaped by different forces and destinies. Let's dive into the fascinating unknown. The 7th century Arabian Peninsula was a vibrant, if volatile, crucible of cultures and commerce. It was a land of ancient traditions, tribal loyalties, and nascent monotheistic stirrings. This was the stage upon which history unfolded. Our point of divergence could be a myriad of scenarios. Perhaps a devastating plague sweeps through the region, decimating key populations. Maybe internal conflicts escalate, preventing any unifying religious movement from gaining traction, or perhaps an existing religious sect, like a form of Arabian Christianity or Judaism, gains unexpected dominance. Without Islam's unifying force, the immediate regional consequences would be profound. Existing religions, including various forms of Judaism, Christianity, and indigenous pagan beliefs, would evolve differently. The Middle East would likely remain a fragmented, chaotic patchwork of competing tribes and small kingdoms. The most immediate and striking absence would be the great Islamic empires. The Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates, with their vast territories and enduring legacies, would simply never have existed. This alone reshapes centuries of global history. The flourishing of knowledge, the preservation of ancient texts, and the vibrant intellectual exchange that characterized the Islamic Golden Age would be profoundly different. Much of the classical learning we inherited might have been lost or rediscovered much later. Consider the European Renaissance and the Enlightenment. Islamic scholars played a crucial role in transmitting Greek and Roman knowledge to Europe. Without this conduit, the Renaissance might have been significantly delayed or taken an entirely different, perhaps less expansive form. And what of the Crusades? These epic religious wars were a direct response to Islamic expansion and control of the Holy Land. Without the rise of Islamic power, the Crusades, as we understand them, would likely not have happened, or certainly not in the same way. It's tempting to speculate on the potential pros of such a world. One might argue for a reduction in religious violence and conflict, at least those specifically tied to Islamic expansion and its aftermath. Many historical flashpoints would simply vanish. The absence of specific historical conflicts, such as the Crusades, or many of the protracted Middle East conflicts, is a significant consideration. Even the rise of certain extremist groups, rooted in specific interpretations of Islamic history, might be mitigated or absent. This alternate reality could have fostered a more diverse cultural landscape in certain regions. Other indigenous cultures and belief systems might have flourished in unique ways, uninfluenced by a dominant Islamic presence. Furthermore, the achievements of ancient Greeks, Romans, and various Asian cultures might have gained greater prominence or taken different trajectories. Their intellectual and artistic legacies might have been preserved and developed through different channels. However, this alternate reality also presents significant cons. The loss of Islamic cultural and intellectual richness would be a profound tragedy for humanity. A vibrant, dynamic civilization, responsible for countless innovations, would simply not exist. Imagine a world without the breathtaking beauty of Islamic art and architecture, the profound insights of Islamic philosophy, or the groundbreaking discoveries of Islamic science. Our global tapestry would be less diverse, less intellectually stimulating, and undeniably poorer. The absence of a unifying Islamic power would also create immense power vacuums across vast swathes of Asia, Africa, and Europe. This could lead to the rise of other, potentially more aggressive or less enlightened empires. History abhors a vacuum after all. This altered balance of power could lead to different, potentially even more devastating conflicts. Without the specific historical trajectory we know, new and unpredictable geopolitical forces would emerge, with unknown and possibly dire consequences. Let's consider some specific regional ramifications, starting with the Iberian Peninsula. Without the Moorish conquest, Christian rule would have been established much earlier. The Reconquista, if it happened at all, would be a shorter, less bloody struggle. This earlier Christian dominance could profoundly impact the age of exploration. European powers might focus their expansion elsewhere, or the discovery of the Americas could be delayed, or even undertaken by different maritime powers entirely. In the Middle East, we would likely see a perpetually fragmented political landscape. A patchwork of warring tribes, small kingdoms, and perhaps lingering Byzantine or Persian influences would dominate. There would be no unified Arab identity as we know it. The discovery of oil in this region would be handled very differently. Without the existing geopolitical structures, it could lead to entirely new political alliances and economic structures, perhaps dominated by external powers or local warlords. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, as we know it, might take a completely different form or never arise in the same context. Moving to India, the absence of the Mughal Empire is a monumental shift. This powerful Islamic dynasty shaped centuries of Indian history, culture, and politics. Its absence would leave a vast void. Consequently, we would lose the magnificent Mughal cultural and architectural achievements, including iconic structures like the Taj Mahal. The world would be without these wonders. The religious landscape of India would also be dramatically different. Hinduism and Buddhism would likely remain far more dominant, without the significant Islamic influence that shaped the subcontinent's spiritual and social fabric. The global political landscape of today would be dramatically altered. There would be no organization of Islamic cooperation, no unified bloc of Muslim-majority nations. International relations would be fundamentally reshaped. The forms of terrorism and extremism we grapple with today might take a different guise or simply not exist. However, human nature being what it is, other ideologies or grievances would undoubtedly emerge to fill that void, potentially leading to new forms of conflict. The global cultural landscape would be undeniably less diverse and vibrant. Imagine a world without the intricate patterns of Islamic art, the soaring arches of its architecture, the rich traditions of its music, or the profound depth of its literature. Our shared human heritage would be diminished. Scientific and technological progress would also follow a different path. The contributions of the Islamic Golden Age, from algebra to astronomy, medicine to optics, were foundational. Without them, scientific advancement might have been delayed or taken alternative, perhaps slower routes. Finally, global economic landscape and trade patterns would be profoundly different. The historical trade routes, the flow of goods and ideas, and the rise of certain economic powers were all influenced by the presence and expansion of Islamic empires. A different history means a different global economy. So, would this alternate world be better? This is a complex question with no easy answer, and it's precisely why we explore these counterfactuals. It forces us to confront our assumptions. On one hand, we can summarize some undeniable potential benefits. Less religious violence directly tied to specific historical conflicts, and a potentially more diverse cultural development in certain regions are compelling points. The trajectory of science might have been different, not necessarily worse, just different. However, the significant drawbacks are equally profound. The loss of an incredibly rich and vibrant culture, with its unparalleled contributions to art, science, and philosophy, is a tremendous cost. The potential for new, perhaps even more destructive, conflicts arising from power vacuums cannot be ignored. Ultimately, this would be a different world, not necessarily better or worse. It would be a world shaped by different forces, different conflicts, and different achievements. It reminds us that history is a complex interplay of countless variables. Now we turn to you, our discerning viewers. What are your thoughts on the advantages and disadvantages of a world without Islam? Share your insights and theories in the comments below. This exploration underscores the dynamic and ever-evolving nature of history. Every event, every movement, every absence creates ripples that shape everything that follows. If you've enjoyed this journey into the realm of what-ifs, please like this video, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribe to Alternatify for more thought-provoking content. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if there are other monumental what-if scenarios you'd like us to explore, let us know. Your suggestions fuel our imagination. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep imagining the possibilities. This is Alternatify, signing off.